open a tank wash, gentlemen.
Woo! We got a lot going on. All right, guys, welcome back. I've got the 120-gallon tank in position. As you saw a few moments ago, we actually drilled the tank. There's the 3 bulkheads way back there, and they are lined up with the plant tank. There's the 3 unions. So that part's looking good. Cannot put the pipes in because I have to get this chamber 1 in. The parts and pieces will probably be here Monday or Tuesday from the guys over there in Butler, Pennsylvania, Dave from Acrylic Creations. This guy has created for me a couple pieces of acrylic that you're going to see when they arrive that go into there. And I tell you what, they're going to be sick looking. It's going to be pretty sweet. But we got to get that here. We got to get it installed, and I got to get this chamber landed down inside this bay area because it is holding me back from doing any of the piping. I'm really wanting to get rolling on this, but the problem is these break right through the catwalk. Obviously the return lines are going to be right there, and they're going to be coming right all the way down underneath the catwalk, and then obviously making a right-hand turn and heading for soon to be a manifold that'll be put on this wall. There's obviously the Hammerhead Gold Hybrid 6,000 gallons per hour. I'm just kind of laying stuff out. Change my mind here a little bit on the doorway. This is going away. The wall now is going to continue all the way to the end and then go down this way, and the door is actually going to be over here on the left.
Got no time for that crap! You son of a bitch.
So I need to get that chamber in there. The other thing I want to point out real quick is on the supply lines. I'm kind of laying this out right now. I like to paint the pipes. I know there's a lot of different options out there on websites, bulk resupply, maybe a couple others where you can actually order different color piping. I actually like to paint it myself because a lot of times when you get into T's or 90s or Y's, they're all that, you know, gray flavor, maybe like a Schedule 80. Where if I paint them, obviously all the 90s or the T's, everything is the flavor that I spray it with. So kind of like I did on the 720, the supply lines are going to be one flavor. In this case, I think we're going to go with the Krylon. This is going to be a brown. It's not going to be so bright and in your face, and I think it would actually flow well, and I think it'll hide when I do the aquascaping.
Get alongside of what this dude is doing.
I had no choice but to do blue on the return lines because obviously the wall was blue.
I saw that, you son of a bitch! You did that on purpose! You're gonna wait till you agree! I got the evidence! Put the evidence in the car! But put the evidence in the car!
So I'm going to keep that blue there, coming down all the way over into this area. But obviously the brown is going to start right here, come down, drop into the chamber 1. You're going to see the brown come back right there between the two chambers. You're going to see it over here between these 2 chambers, and you're going to see it right there. So that should look pretty sweet. And if you remember, way over here, I'll just give you a quick snapshot of the 720. Look how I did all these different flavors underneath here. We talked about this before in videos 1, 2, and 3. All the supply lines are one flavor, returns are another, which obviously in this case is green on the supply, red on the return, and then on the closed loop, blue is the supply, starting from way up underneath here to the motor, and orange is the return. So I'm not going to get as crazy as I did on this system, but I definitely am going to paint the pipes.
Big John, do you think this boy is a hustler?
Don't worry guys, I'm working as fast as I can to get you out of there. All right, the first 2 pipes have been painted. These are going to be the actual supply lines. I've got them all taped off. plastic around the actual Spears gate valve and blue painter's tape all the way around the valve. So I actually took these outside, I hung them from a piece of wire. Got this up all taped up right there. And then just got a piece of dummy pipe sitting in here so I can get to the actual end. Alright guys, here it is. I took the 3 acrylic panels out of the shipping crate from Dave from Acrylic Creations. Once again, they're out there in Butler, Pennsylvania. And here's what we got going on. So obviously you got the one piece over here. You got the pass-through panel right here, and then you have the 9-sock filter plate on top. So obviously the paper is still on both sides of this one and this one. But looking at it, and when I started putting stuff together, I'm like, uh-oh, I screwed up. So 2 things I messed up on when I placed the order is I didn't leave a cutout right here. So we got to do a quick modification here so that this piece can slide in a nice tight 90-degree angle. So I got to do that, quick cut. The other part I messed up on is on the 6 pass-throughs. You can see them right through here. This one should not have been here. We talked about this before. The 2-inch pipes are going to be dropping in right here, which is these guys right here. We started painting them. They break through, and I've got them set up right now with 2 45s for a nice transition. But then they'll probably 90 down, or maybe another set of 45s right here. We talked about this before. The water will rise and then dump in over here. Well, this shouldn't have been here. So I kind of messed up. I'm going to own that one. So the only thing I can think of doing is filling that with silicone. I don't think you're really going to see it when we're all done and said. But that's where we're at. I've got a tank underneath here right now, just temporarily holding this up just so you can see a quick view of what's going on. The other issue that obviously I'm noticing that's not going to work out for us is this first overflow box that I put in the corner. I was thinking that we were going to have more of a split between this panel and this panel. But right now we're probably about 1.5 inches from way back here. So that's too tight. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a razor blade. As much as this hurts to do it, we're going to go ahead and cut this out. I mean, it's still going to work. I mean, obviously the water's coming out at 14, the water level will rise, and we'll start leaving this tank at 6 inches, which is where the bulkheads are at right here. So it should still work. I had one thought process, but obviously I didn't realize, obviously once we did this many socks, obviously the plate got wider and wider, which pushed this plate further to the right, and obviously we lost the real estate inside here. So no big deal, we'll just cut this out, and obviously the theory will still work. But that's where we're at. That's the latest and greatest on chamber 1. We'll do these quick modifications, pull off the paper, do the gluing, and try to get this thing into its new house right there as soon as possible. We got to get this tank done. All right, till then, I'm out. This is why you measure 15 times and cut once. Alright guys, we're trucking right along here. As you can see, I pulled off the paper on the 3 pieces of acrylic. I've got everybody in position, and this is what it's going to look like. Obviously minus the tank that's down inside there. It's actually holding up this 9 sock filtration plate. It's keeping everybody nice and level and even. So I broke out the square. I got this panel and this panel absolutely perfectly plumbed and square. And so if you look real close, there's actually some shim stock way down inside there. And that is there to raise it up a couple thousandths. So there's actually a little bit of a gap underneath that piece of acrylic, and obviously over here on the side one. Right there. So those are in place so that I can get the silicone up underneath. But one of the things I wanted to point out real quick is that obviously there are a lot of different silicones on the market. And I can tell you, I have never used this DAP Clear until today. And I tell you what, wow, this stuff is like ice. Now what I've done a couple little tacks just to get everybody in position. And what I do is I go around and I hit a couple of areas and I let it set up for 24 hours. I do that, and in this case I'm doing it because I need to get this plate off the top so I can get my hand down inside to get both inner edges of those 2 plates. But look at this right here. Catch the right angle. Right there. This silicone has gone in there and it's like ice. It's absolutely perfect. And it's been there for probably 2 hours already. So this is already setting up. The only reason I'm pointing that out is I've used the other stuff. Now this has been there for, heck, probably 3-4 weeks. And it goes a little bit white or like a creamy flavor, and it doesn't really look that good. But this other stuff, wow, I like this. So I've got probably 15 to 17 tacks all around different areas. So tomorrow I'll remove this plate, remove that tank, and then I will get in and do the real bead around all the edges and really lock it in. But this is just a temporary hit. It's something I like to do. It just kind of gets everything locked in and get ready for the real sealing and locking down of the items that you're doing. So I will also say real quick that I've changed my mind. I was saying I was going to pull out this plate right here, that overflow box that we created a couple weeks ago. There's kind of a downfall, but yet there's a little bit of a plus here. The distance between this plate and this plate is about 2 inches. So in reality that's a little tight and I don't like it. And I was so close to cutting that out. But now I'm going to keep it. And the reason I'm going to keep it, because if I do cut it out, that water is going to fall all the way down from this 14-inch elevation. Obviously it's going to fall down to the bottom. Granted, it's going to rise up to about 6 inches right here, maybe about 7 to center line, but you're going to have that water crashing from 7 all the way up to 14. That's going to be loud. That's going to drive me crazy. Actually, that's going to probably drive the wife crazy, and I'm going to lose this battle.
Baby, you're the greatest.
But if I keep this in here, this elevation right here down inside this big L will be at 12 inches. And that will actually be some sound deadening. And that'll get it nice and quiet. And now we will only be from 12 to 14. And I can deal with that. We're going to see how that's going to play out. But I tell you what, that was real close. I mean, I I was here with John and we were down to minutes. I was getting ready to pull the razor blade and cut this out. But we talked about it for a little bit and we're going to keep it for now. You know, worst case, I can always come back and cut it out. But right now, it's more about sound deadening. The other thing I wanted to touch on real quick is obviously there's a lot of different silicones on the market. I'm not going to beat this portion of the conversation up, and I'm not going to stick my toe too far in the water here and say something completely out of line. But there is a lot of videos on YouTube, and there is a little bit of misconception when obviously you get into when you see about the mold-free. A lot of times it says 10-year mold-free, and they clearly says on the back of the container, not designed for aquarium use. Well, that's a little touchy conversation because
what the hell is the world coming to?
It does make sense based upon the one video that I watched from the one gentleman that, you know, when this is curing, they don't want you to silicone something, it's ready in 30 minutes, you start putting the water in, and the next you know, you're putting fish in it. Now, could there be some type of backlash on that? And obviously something is being admitted into the water that could actually have an effect on possibly the biological side of the tank. Probably to cover their butt, they're probably saying yes, something could happen and obviously there could be some impact. But if that glue, silicone, were to set up for, you know, 10, 15, 30 days, and it's hardened and it's shelled and there's nothing that could actually come out of that glue, well, then you're probably a little bit more protected. So that's a tough topic, and I'm not going to get too far into it. I mean, obviously, they do make silicones that are obviously aquarium safe, but there's that gray area of, you know, is that other one safe or not safe? But I would say reach out and watch a lot of different videos, do your research on it, but that's a double-edged sword right there. This right here, it didn't say anything in regards to aquariums. And like I said, the big takeaway on that one is, man, how clear it is. I'm sold on that one. All right, guys, now we're outside and we have set up the table saw. Now, granted, this is a very old table saw. This is definitely some 1965 stuff here. Sears and Roebuck with a Craftsman motor. So don't beat me up too bad. Obviously, there's no safety guard on the top. I totally understand it. But what we're doing is we're cutting a piece of 3/4 inch acrylic. I've got some scrap acrylic that we need 2 bars, roughly 3/4 thickness, probably 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide by around 29.5 in length. Now I did a little bit of research. Now when you're cutting acrylic, you need to have 80 teeth or more. In this case, we've got a 10-inch blade. It has 100 teeth on it. So we've done a couple practice runs. And boy, I tell you what, this is pretty good. It goes right through there like butter. So we got a true 90-degree angle. One of the things that we look at, obviously, is you don't want to have the top of the blade, you know, way higher than the actual surface. In this case, we're just about maybe 1/8 of an inch right above it. But that's it. So we're all set up right now. Like I said, these are for the 9-sock filtration system. This is 2 pieces of acrylic that's actually going to hold the plate up. Obviously the first 2 are already there, which is the wall on the right where you see the water passes through, and then obviously the wall where the water actually arrives from the 2-inch supply lines. So what we're creating here is the 2 pieces on the far back wall. But that's it. Just wanted to show you real quick what we got set up here. We're going to blast out a couple pieces and start the process of mounting them and gluing.